John 19, 3:3, 1 month of Passover. John 19. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him, which is whipped him, beat him, cat of nine tails. He was trying to punish him and so he wouldn't have to kill him. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. So they took a thorn bush and made a crown and smashed it into his head. Like, here's your king, here's your king. And said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they smote him with their hands. And Pilate therefore went again and saith unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him. So he's telling all the people and everyone that's watching, I find no fault in him. Then came Jesus forth, wearing a crown of thorns and a purple robe. And Pilate saith unto them, Behold the man! 6. And when the chief priests therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him! Crucify him! Pilate saith unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. So he's telling the Jews, you go crucify him. It's not the Jews, it's the sons of Cain that run the place. Unless Caiaphas was a true Jew and God told him what to do, it just seems like he'd be the father, would be the murderer. You know? Kill God. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, because he remembered what his wife had told him. And went again into the judgment hall, and saith unto Jesus, Whence art thou? Who are you? But Jesus gave him no answer. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? You're not going to talk to me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee, and have power to release thee? I can put you to death, or I can give you life right now. Talk. And Jesus answered, verse 11, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivereth me unto thee has the greater sin. So hey Pilate, stop your bragging. The only reason you're allowed to kill me is because God gave me to you through these guys. So their sin's worse than yours because they brought me to you. 12. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Rome. Whosoever maketh himself a king, speak against Caesar. 13. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus. So now they got him. The only thing Pilate's worried about, more than killing an innocent man, is losing his job. And henceforth, from thenceforth, Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king, speaketh against Caesar. 13. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat, in a place that is called the Pavement. John 19, verse 13. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat, in a place that is called the Pavement. The Pavement. The Pavement. And it was the preparation of the Passover, about the 6th hour, and he saith unto the Jews, Behold your king! But they cried out with him, Away with him! Crucify him! Pilate saith unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. 16. Then delivered him therefore unto them to be crucified. And they took Jesus and led him away. And bearing his cross, he went forth into a place that is called the place of the skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and two other with him, and on either side one, and Jesus in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title, and put it on the cross. And the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city. And it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin, for the whole world to read. INRI. I know that one. Then said the chief priests of the Jews to Pilate, write not the King of the Jews, but he said, I am the King of the Jews. And I don't even remember him saying that. Pilate answered, what I have written, I have written. Then the soldiers, where they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also his coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from top throughout. They said therefore among themselves, let us not rend it, let's not rip it apart. Did you ever see the movie The Robe? Let us not rend it, but cast lots for it. Whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which saith, they parted my raiments, they parted my clothes amongst them, and for my vesture did they cast lots. They threw dice for Emmanuel's clothes. These things, therefore, the soldiers did. And if you watch The Robe, you'll find out the rest of the story. It might be a Hollywood story, but it's a good story. 25. Now therefore stood by the cross of Jesus his mom, his mother, and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by, whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. So he's talking to John, and he's talking to his mom, and he's like, John, my mom is your mom now. Then saith he to the disciple. So then he's looking at John, and he goes, Hey John, my mom is your mom now. Behold thy mother. And from that hour the disciple took her unto his own home. 28. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, saith, I thirst. Now therefore was set a vessel of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it unto hyssop. So they took the sponge and they put it in like an alcohol drink, vinegar and hyssop, and put it up to his mouth. And when Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished! It is finished! And he bowed his head and he gave up his spirit. So he did what he had to do. Took the vinegar, touched his mouth. It is finished. Gives up his inner man, his inner spirit. Goes away. And he died on the cross. 31. The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was the high day. It was the Passover and it was Sabbath day. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first. See, I think Constantine would have known that it was okay to have 2 Sabbaths in 1 week. Sabbath for the normal Sabbath, Sabbath for Passover, because they killed, Rome killed him on the high Sabbath, the double high Sabbath. But he still took away Passover and gave us Easter, which is of Ishtar. 30 days from now, I pray, we will celebrate Passover and then Restoration Day. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the bodies should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that the Sabbath day was the high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was dead already, he's already dead, why break his legs? So they didn't. But one of the soldiers with a spear, just in case, pierced his side, and forthwith came out blood with water. Blood and water came out of him. 35. Bear record, and his record is true, and he knoweth that he saith true, that ye might believe. For these things were done, that the scripture should be fulfilled, a bone of him shall not be broken. (1937) And again another scripture saith, they shall look on him whom they pierced. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but secretly, for the fear of the Jews, because he didn't want to tell everybody, hey, I love Jesus, or I'm a disciple of Jesus, because he was one of the in crowd, one of the council members. And after Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but secretly, for the fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus, and Pilate gave him leave. So he said, hey Pilate, can I take Jesus' body? I've got a place for him. And Pilate's like, sure, go ahead and take him. He came therefore and took the body of Jesus. And there also came Nicodemus, which at first came to Jesus by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh, aloes, and 100-pound weight. 40. Then took they the body of Jesus, and wound it in linen clothes with spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. So as the normal, Jewish burial, they put all the spices with them and wrap them up. 41. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre wherein a man was never laid. So it was like a brand new, it's like a cave, brand new place that no one had ever been buried before. They laid there Jesus therefore, because the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was nigh at hand. So it was Passover day. They took Jesus' body down. They took all the bad guys, or the other two that were with him, down. One of them was in paradise with him. He gave the ghost, said it is finished. And when the other guy died, that guy got to go to paradise with Yeshua that day. The other one didn't. So choose wisely. We're going to go into chapter 20 next.
John 19. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And they put on him a purple robe and said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again and saith unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him. Then came Jesus forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate saith unto them, Behold the man! When the chief priests therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him! Crucify him! Pilate saith unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall, and saith unto Jesus, Whence art thou? But Jesus gave him no answer. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee, and have power to release thee? Jesus answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin. And from thenceforth Pilate sought to release him. But the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the Pavement, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour. And he saith unto the Jews, Behold your king.